don't need my sunglasses there today. Pouring rain outside. I've cleaned up my sunroom and I have it ready to put the new tomato plants in. And I guess the beginning of next month I'll put the pepper plants here. So I'm going to do a video as much for myself as for you guys. I need a diary of step by step of how things are growing throughout the year. So outside, the soil is just thawed out now. Yesterday I removed the kelp from the beds on the sunny patch, and then when I went to start the shady patch, over half of it was still frozen, so I left it. In the sunny patch there's some tulips growing and a daylily. And down by the front fence, I believe there's 4 crocuses just coming up. And the buds on the maple tree is just starting to open now. So in here, we do have some interesting things to show. So we'll get down right here by this tray first. Now of course you know what these guys are, that's the mulberry trees. But remember my last report, one of them had not shown signs of life yet. That's this one. And now you can see he's got his first green leaf coming out. These there, they're showing, really the leaves are opening out really well on them all. This one in the back here, he's being slow, but he's still green and I watered him, so that'll be okay. The tomatoes were up in the light on the shelving unit downstairs, and so I brought them up here. I have 12 tomato plants if I include the 3 Tiny Tim there that I have to make their final planter for now, and that will probably be the next video. That's my next step, make planters for those and put them over here. I only have 1 seed buckthorn here now. I'll tell you about that when we get downstairs. My understanding, when you're growing tomatoes in here in the absence of pollinators, is that there's no flowers on this one right now. It's a little cool in here. But you go along and you just tap the flower like that to get it to pollinate. I am not having much luck. Maybe when it gets warmer I will. So I still only have this 1 tomato here. Down in the bottom, see I've got some vermiculite put around them. That's another thing I'll talk about more downstairs. And I put one of the pumpkin plants in here just for fun to see if I can grow it here. The lettuce stick is coming along wonderful. I'm very happy because the beginning of last winter was when I actually started trying to get stuff to grow inside. I said I have to learn this winter to grow stuff inside and to start my seeds. I didn't really get very far with it last winter, but I've come a long ways this winter, so I'm happy with that. Remember the seeds plants that I got bitten off? Well, 3 of the California poppy, that's those there. And there is something growing in these here summer savory plants here. The rest, not damaged at all. Growing just fine. And what's really exciting This is the North American pawpaw. He lost his leaves really early. He's supposed to survive to zone 5. So when I plant him, I have to plant him in a sun trap outside and protect him in the winter. Protect the base. Because once the tree grows up, of course, you're not going to be able to protect the whole tree. Coming back here, look what we have here. It's a black awe sunflower. They don't, well, of the flowers that I've gotten last year, none of them were very large. And that one is growing, looking like he's just going to put out a small flower head as well. This broccoli never was growing well. And it's growing slowly, but the cabbage, it's growing up. The flower stock, it did come, but I cut it off. I've been taking leaves off of the kale. This sunflower back here, he's getting his flower head as well. And coming around here, I've tied them up to blanch the head. As you can see, I've got a little cauliflower head growing in there. And this, with a soil temperature outside of 5 degrees, and it being the middle of April, we don't plant outside for, well, this will be another 5 weeks when I move these outside, and yet I am already getting heads growing inside. So that's wonderful. And as you can see, I've got the sunroom cleared up and ready to go. And there's still more excitement in here. I've had to cut this marjoram back 3 times now. And the rosemary twice. And here's the hot and spicy oregano. I've cut that back twice. And I've been using this garlic chives. Some of these basil I've snipped back twice, and other times I've taken leaves to use. All of this stuff is growing beautifully, and look at the lettuce. Yeah, I'm really proud of my lettuce, this indoor lettuce. This is the 2 tiny Tims. They're getting flowers. The flowers are already out on this tiny Tim. Down here, we'll see what the quality is. Like I said, the peppers are, that pepper's growing. I thought I had 3 here. That's a wonderful bay window garden I have there. Oh dear. Will it come back to life? When the sun shines, that dries up pretty quick. Here is the first fat and sassy pepper. I've brought it over to the table so that I can spin it around and show you close-ups of it, because you see the pepper growing there? There's another one here. And another one here. Was there a 4th one? Yes. Here's the biggest one right here. I have 4 peppers growing on this little plant. Now, if you look closely, I have some white flies, and I still have aphids that I'm fighting. I think actually it was Luke from MI Gardener. He was talking about the differences in the vermiculite and perlite, and also the differences in usage. And one of the uses for vermiculite is to put it over the surface of your soil to deal with fungus gnats. So I thought to myself, aphids, once you get them off the plant, they have to crawl back to the plant and then up the stem. So I put vermiculite all around here, and due to the curly leaves, it's going to be some time before I get all the bugs off of here, but I'm going to see if vermiculite will help with the aphids. Here's the other sea buckthorn. He's just looking like a stick there, but if we look close, he does have a green leaf there and one down right at the base. I had to replant this. The smaller sea buckthorn was beginning to fade, and it's only got 2 green leaves on it now. It was in the same place getting the same water, so what is the difference? Let us see. There's not a whole lot of color change, but you see how this soil is lighter in color than this soil? They both have about the same amount of moisture. That is because this soil is mostly garden soil, which is mostly sand and pebbles, whereas this has a lot more organic matter. This is what the larger one is planted in, and this is what this small one is planted in. So I have to repot this before it dies on me. Now I repotted it in proper potting soil, and I put a thin layer of vermiculite over the top. My pepper plants in the back here. These 2 is the ones I put the vermiculite around first. They were particularly getting hit with the aphids, and as of this, since I put the vermiculite on 3 days ago, they seem to be healthier and avoiding the aphids. Of course, we shall see. I had to give the onions another haircut. But I tried the Red Globe, Southport Red Globe, and the Southport White Globe again. Nothing. This goji is growing really well. That one's doing good too. This is the one that was doing better before. This whole part here is what grew since I've moved them down here. And that one there's, it's coming along. Now these were the gojis that I had brought upstairs. But as you know, some of the plants got attacked, and they were looking the worse for wear, but they're still alive, so I brought them downstairs again. Tracy, I've moved over here now because a lot have germinated in them. And as you can see, I'm going to have to move some of these plants now over into the cups. Speaking of the culps, since these were good and new potting soil, I brought them down here. That way I've got 9, 10, 11 cups that I don't have to fill. You're a little slanted. Last year I had measured the soil temperature with one of those meat probes. Basically it's the analog round top, and then you just stick it down in the meat when you're baking it. And I had forgotten about taking soil temperatures this year. And Veronica Flores, she put out a video about soil temperatures there yesterday, which reminded me. And she was using a digital thermometer, one of them with the little flip out thing, but it was pretty much like this, about the same length as this probe here. And I thought, oh yeah, I had this one. I'm using it to set up a incubator there, and so I'm going to be using that to measure soil temperature. As I said, soil temperature out there now, I measured yesterday, it's 5 degrees, and we had snow last night, so it's covered in a skim of snow, so I'll wait until tomorrow. Actually, no, we're having snow tomorrow, so I'll wait until Thursday or Friday, whenever the ground's clear again. So in my GDU monitoring table that I mentioned, that's back in when I was talking about the annuals and their GDU requirements, I've added a column called soil temperature. And I'll be monitoring that to give you the GDU accumulation for any seeds that I'm direct sowing. I went on, and I don't think I told you this, West Coast Seeds, they have a planting guide for pretty much every type of crop that they sell. It's by type, not by variety. And from that I was able to complete, well, not totally complete, there's some data missing still, but I've got a lot more data for this table here. It's your optimum germination temperature, so that would be your soil temperature. And anything under, where is cucumber? Cucumber's right there, 15 degrees. So sometimes we can get cucumber to actually, we can direct sow cucumber. But anything that has an optimum germination temperature that goes down as far as 10 degrees Celsius, that is, then I can direct sow. I also got germination times, the type of plant, whether annual, biennial, or perennial, and the hardiness zones. When we go back out in the yard again, I'll show you how my carrots, they rotted. They didn't last over this winter. The 1st of January, we got minus 30 degrees Celsius, and we didn't have much of a snow cover. So I come back in and check this table, and I find carrots, it's a biennial, but they're already to zone 4. So the minus 30 was just a little more than they could handle. The rutabaga, they did fine. If I scroll down to rutabaga, they're already to zone 2. Don't have any more St. John's wort sprouted. I tried the onion seeds in the peat pellets as well, the Southport onion seeds. Nothing. So I'm going to have to set a lot of those little onion bulb sets again this year. I have this spring planting schedule from One Yard Revolution. If you want to go over to his channel, he'll have a link to this planting schedule, and he has 3 pages, a no cover, single cover and double cover, to tell you when to plant with respect to your last frost. I am going to use the thermometer because back to what I got from West Coast Seeds, beets will not produce roots if planted when soil is too cold, and their optimum germination is 10 to 26 degrees Celsius. So I may have to wait right up until June 1st to plant the beets. I didn't get many roots last year, and I think that may have been the problem. I think that's all for now. As I said, this is a diary for me and an update for you guys. If you have any advice on the format of giving these type of updates, leave it in the comments. If you liked it, as always, hit that thumbs up button. If you like my content and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.